Hey everybody, it's Coney here, and I'm filming this intro a little bit less than a week after the last Blast Zone, after we filmed that. And the reason I'm doing so is to let you know that as we sat down to do this episode, we had only just learned of Puppey's story and his abuse, and we had heard his story as he came forward, and we had no idea the countless amount of victims that were going to come forward and share their stories relating to others in the Smash community. And the reason I'm telling you this is because we wanted to present this because it represents how we genuinely felt in the moment of what was going to be a very difficult and tumultuous time in the Smash world. But we also didn't want to present something that didn't address everything and have people wonder why we weren't talking about X or Y. We will address those on the newest Blast Zone, which will air on Wednesday, July 8th on my channel. And then if you want to catch the VOD, it'll be on Panda Global, I believe, on Friday. Barring any missteps, but just wanted to make that clear to anybody as you go in to watch this episode exactly what to expect. You'll hear more from us very soon. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy the episode. Let me see. Do this. Good topic name. It's on the fly because I have no idea where to even begin with this. Hi everybody, welcome to Blast Zone. This is the only Super Smash Bros. Talk show on the internet, and we had a shitty day today. In case anybody doesn't know, the day began, and actually, if I could frame this in other ways, there have been things for a week now, like thing after thing just popping up, details of sexual misconduct or inappropriate abuse, underage grooming. We've seen no shortage of stories for the past week or so. And it really came to a head today when I think it touched one of the most high-profile people and one of the most visible people, certainly, at least right now even, in Smash. And that's Senpai. Puppey released a statement. I sound like a fucking news anchor. Puppey released a twit longer basically detailing his experience with Senpai, who is the commentator, did top 8 at EVO, has done a ton of different events, basically saying that throughout the summer of 2016, him and Senpai had a grossly inappropriate relationship. She was 24 at the time and he was 14, but I don't even know if that really gets to the gravity of the situation. Yes, he was 14, but if you look at these images, and if you look at the clips that have sort of surfaced, Puppey looks incredibly young. He does not look 14. He looks more like 10.
He looks 14 now.
Yeah, he looks 14 4 years later now. And I'm not saying this like, I'm not coming at Puppey or anything. He just has a very youthful appearance, and it just paints the whole situation in an even more disturbing light. This has been particularly shocking to all three of us, I would say. I didn't know Senpai that well. We didn't talk that much. We obviously did top 8 at EVO, and we had a couple blocks, and we were cordial. We talked to each other. She's been extremely visible during all the current situation in the world. The Black Lives Matter movement has been retweeting a ton, has been advocating people to be better and to treat each other kinder, and then for something like this to come out. TK, I don't mean to put you on the spot, and forgive me, but I know that you probably were closer to Senpai than any of us. And I know today's got to be like really tough for you specifically.
Yeah. Like around the same time as like when Senpai was doing all that stuff or whatever, we would talk on the phone and shit because I don't know, around this time she started to have problems with like her hands, and she had called me one time crying, because she didn't want to like leave the Smash community or anything like that. And I was like, there's a bunch of other stuff that you can do to like get into the community and stuff. So at this time we started to talk about like helping her get get better with commentary. So like at the beginning of her commentary career, she would like send me clips and I would like watch them and I'm like, oh yeah, you got to be like this, whatever. And for a couple of her few blocks, like I specifically requested to work with her, and so like I put my trust in this person and then it's all gone, and it hurts because I mean, I loved her. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
I loved her. Like she was a great person to be around. I'm glad that like when we did the Nintendo stuff that like I got to spend my time in Texas with her. Like it would have been either y'all two or her, and I got to we did all that shit. And it was great. Like, you know, we had fun. Like, we wanted to go eat with the Nintendo people, and I was just glad to be, like, hanging around with her. But, like, now I just feel fucking, like, I'm, like, lost or, like, betrayed or some shit. And it sucks. I don't know. It just sucks. Like, it's not... obviously, I didn't, like, make her or whatever. She still had to do the groundwork. But I don't really feel like I would have put my... I would not put any effort in this if I knew this and when it was going down, you know, like if this I think the worst part about it is that we all heard it before, you know, we've been hearing it. We live in NBVA, we've heard it, and, you know, we always thought it was just like, oh, you know, people are, you know, she's a woman, people are making baseless claims because she's a woman, because that's how the Smash community be, you know what I'm saying? Like, women do not get treated well in here, but. Then she came out and denied it. Then he came out and denied it. And then out of nowhere, nah, this shit is true. And she's not saying nothing because there's no defense to this. I don't see any way that she's going to be able to slide back from this. It's been getting talked about for like the last 4 years, and we keep sliding on their table and sliding on their table and sliding on their table until I guess Puppet finally got old enough to realize that like, yo, this shit is not okay, and I need to say something. So like, I'm hurt, you know. And like I'm still processing. I haven't unfollowed her yet. And I'm just I just like I texted her this morning and like we didn't say anything, but I did literally just text her like send like how could you do this? And she hasn't said anything back to me. Yeah. Which I wouldn't expect her to, but I don't know. I'm fucking hurt.
I on the things being talked about. These things pop up every once in a while, and I think it's a mixture of, one, people just wanting to shut down women in the community, and two, it depends on who the source is. I know a lot of people are celebrating the guy that a lot of people think this stuff is coming from, and I'll just say he's not totally innocent, but if what he's doing is outing people that should be outed, that's a good thing. I think the Senpai situation blindsided a lot of people. Yesterday, there was an image that was floating around with two members of the Smash community, both women, and somebody had just drawn something of them. I'm trying to be cagey. I apologize.
You're skirting around. Let me take this one. So yesterday...
Okay, yeah.
Yes, let me take this one. So yesterday, two of my good friends, both Shannondorf and Vicky, they were the victim of somebody just producing some very not safe for work content of them. They portrayed them. They're very wholesome individuals. Like Shannon's a meme queen. Vicky is an outstanding commentator and someone who I would advertise any young female or just even a male look up to as far as like being a gold standard commentator. She's fantastic. Yeah. And they were portrayed in a light that was just totally not okay, because the problem with that is they like, if you're gonna draw something, no one can stop you from doing that. That's your own personal stuff, whatever. But when you put it on the internet, okay, for people to see, which is grossly inappropriate, you also try and profit off it because it was behind a paywall on Patreon. Some of this stuff was on Patreon, you know what I'm saying? Like, you was charging for this. So that's why it was just more egregious, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's terrifying to say that Vicky was just like, yeah, like somebody's tried to commission not safe for work stuff about me before. It's just like this is like, you know what I mean? Like years ago, and like this is still like a thing. Like why is this even a thing in the first place? Like, again, what you do on your free time, sure, but to put that on the internet to try and profit off of that against two ladies who are outstanding members of the community, who I endorse fully, I thought that was just flat out disgusting. And I'm glad everybody rallied behind Vicky and Shannon and mass reported that shit, because the guy's Twitter account did get suspended. The post from another account got taken down. I don't know about the patron stuff, but it is nice to see that people were, because Vicky was commentating, I think, an Overwatch event when this stuff was stuff was going on, and I messaged her and I posted. I was like, look, just focus on you. We got this handled. Don't worry about it. And I think in unison we handled that shit. And that's how I would like expect a response to that to be, because that's how you help protect women in the scene. And you can say it for anybody in the scene, but especially when it seems like women seem to be, the target.
Yeah, no question. And the reason that I wanted to bring it up is because like we've seen this before, but yesterday, at least for me personally, I feel like I felt something like snap, and I was like, this is like. It's fucking revolting. Like it goes beyond the pale, and like we've seen this shit before, and I don't know if we're making excuses for it. I don't know if we're actively creating the culture. Like it makes you put everything else into a different light.
It's bad too, because like that guy, if you went down his timeline, he just does that with like everything. Like he has like deep fakes of like porn scenes where they take the like a celebrity's face and put them over the like the actual porn actor's face, and it looks realistic weird. And shit. And like the thing is, the thing that really threw me off is that like I talked about this yesterday on just during the stream, and some dude did try to come through and kind of like rationalize it. It was like, oh yeah, man, like when you get big, you have to expect shit like this.
Oh my god.
First of all, we're just gamers. Like we're not big. I don't know what like level of fame you think being a fucking Smash commentator is, or a commentator in general. But I'm not Rihanna. I'm not Brad Pitt. I'm not any of that shit. Like I shouldn't. They shouldn't have to deal with it. By any means. Like I would not want to. If I was Rihanna or whatever, and I saw some dude drawing some lewd ass art of me that I did not commission, I'd be just as disgusted as me in my own body right now. So it doesn't matter whatever level my fame is. I shouldn't be subjected to shit like that, regardless if I have 2 followers or 2 million followers. And the fact of the matter is, I'm very much closer to 2 than 2 million, and so is Vicky, and so is Shannondorf, and all that good shit. So to act like there's some big celebs and that like, oh, this comes to the territory is fucking gross. And I told him that straight up. I was like, that is a shitty take, and you're fucking gross for even thinking that, or even saying that, even uttering that out your mouth. These are still human beings. You may know us more from seeing us on a lot of your favorite games or whatever, but that doesn't mean that I am now, or we are now, subject to harassment just because I have some fame. Like that's total bullshit.
It's not. There's something that I have always remembered. It's stuck in my head. It happened a few years ago when there was some community drama when B broke up with Locust, right? And she started dating Tweak. They had a very amicable breakup. They were just... People break up sometimes. People are young. Sometimes relationships don't work out. Locust and B were like, they're great. It's just not working out. It's long distance. B gets with Tweak. And there are people, like, making jokes about it and being weird. And it's like, why are you doing that? These are just 2 normal people. And then I remember a guy, and I remember his name. I see him in streams sometimes. It's just a guy with, like, 100 followers. Like, I'm not going to blow him up, but I remember a guy saying, well, they're public figures. It's sort of what they should expect. I don't know at what point.
How big do you think the Smash community is?
That's what I don't know at what point did we become figures, dude. Like, I don't know when it happened that we became celebrities that are, and not even us. This is B, who isn't a commentator. She isn't even a top player. Why? She's not subjecting herself to that. And people have this idea that people in the public eye, or even people that just tweet a lot and are generally funny, are subject to being blasted. And it's like, how can you have that that amount of empathy to just subject a human being? I don't get it, dude.
I think the thing...
to see how many followers she had. B has 23.5k followers. And that is a decent amount for someone who's like not, up there or whatever, but I think around the time that she was dating him, she was well under that, and still getting subjected to just bullshit for dating someone that is a top player. It's bullshit.
I think the problem is that a lot of these people who make comments like that, Like that's how you can kind of tell like who's a little more sheltered than others, because they've essentially made like gaming or Smash like their whole reality. Like this is what everything kind of revolves around. Like to say like, you know, we're public figures. Like, no, bro. I still go to Walmart with no problems. Ain't nobody stop me for a picture. I'm not a public figure. I'm a goddamn guy talking about a video game. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing that I think is like these guys get it in their mind that, oh, I'm part of this community, so these guys have to be larger than life for me, because maybe even that almost validates them too. Like the bigger they are, the bigger I am, because I'm part of the scene. You know, that's kind of like where I would say that's kind of going with that. And then like the thing about the disrespect regarding B is I didn't even understand that, because both Locust and B did tweet, you know, like it was a mutual breakup, no hard feelings or anything like that. So why do people take it upon themselves to be like, oh, look at this thought or whatever, you know, look at this ass, stuff like that. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Why add to a fire that's not even lit? You know what I'm saying? What are you pouring gasoline on something that's not even burning? Stuff like that just really confuses me.
I didn't mean to, like, open an old wound. Forgive me if this shouldn't have been talked about, but it just, I feel like that culture, we've seen it with the Melee heads, right, where you have these gods and they become like these iconic figures, and now in Smash Ultimate people think of these people as celebrities, and I think there is this idea that Vicky and Shannon like aren't real people, so they just make art of them and they just, oh, it's fine, she's a celebrity, she's making millions a year. That's not the case. And I think that just that yesterday really messed me up. So that, along with all the other things, the Venia fruit situation, all those things going on, 0 to none is another guy. Tri-State is having a meltdown. Where do we go? You know,
I don't get, like, the celebrity of it is weird. I don't even say how you can see me as a celebrity. I have over 70K followers. I can't even get 1,000 of those people to give me $5. Like, I don't like, you know what I mean? Like, where's the celebrity in there, bro? Like,
you can't even get 1,000 of those people.
Can't get 1,000 of those people to give me $5, and we over here talking. Oh,
did he?
Oh.
Okay, hold on. Stop, TK. You froze for like 30 seconds when you said I can't even get 1,000 of those people, and then it all came out at once.
Anyway, okay, I can't even get 1,000 of those people to give me $5. So, like, to act like we're fucking celebrities is OD. Like, I don't see it. I see that I obviously more people will know me than you, but in no way do I feel like I'm better than anyone. You know, like I don't see myself as like, oh, you know, you can't touch me, I'm untouchable, I'm TK Breezy, whatever. Like, I'm just another dude going to a tournament who now has a job at this tournament instead of just existing. That's good. You know, that's great. But at the end of the day, you know, we're all there for the same reason. It's to enjoy this game. And it seems like what I originally thought we were there for, you know, originally thought we were there to enjoy this game. It's not actually the MO for everybody. Half y'all are there just to harass people or going there to, you know, to fucking molest children and shit like that. It just, it has made me look at the community a lot different than I have before.
Yeah, and rightfully so. I mean, this is, and it's a lot to digest, guys, because I think a lot of people are just, you know, a lot of people don't, like, I had somebody, you know, message me on Discord, like, you know, why is, you know, and I'm not going to put them on blast, but they asked, you know, why is, you know, he so upset? This is every guy's dream, you know what I'm saying, growing up. God. I'm like, you know, like, this isn't an episode of South Park where, you know, nice and stuff like that. You know, that's not how the real world works. Like, this can have scarring effects on somebody whom was not, who did not really concede to this, you know, or consent to this, in the fact that they couldn't. They were just so damn young. And you look at Puppet at that age, people have been circulating that picture of him next to Resliv, how
it's
young
insane.
He looks. He looks like he's 10 years old, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a problem being attracted to that and wanting to do something other than be like a mentor, like a big brother, big sister type thing, which I thought was kind of like
that's what I thought
between them.
That's what everybody thought. That's what everybody thought.
Things about it. Never thought.
But like now, when I looked, did you see that video?
Yeah,
like,
the clips are vile. The clips are fucking vile.
And now it's just so different now. Like, I see like a totally different, like that one where they're like in the back corner. That shit, like, I never saw that before. But like, for as long as I've known them, I never, for as long as I knew Senpai or whatever, I just assumed that, like, oh, they're probably close because, like, maybe she knows his parents or something like that, and, take care of my child or whatever while they're out. Because he was young. Like, he's traveling to a whole different state just to play a fucking game, with a bunch of people you may not know, and whatnot. I mean, we had young kids like that a lot. We had, who's Booty King, you know what I'm saying? His mom would show up to tournament too, and like Booty King's life was a little more like stressful or whatever. But we looked out for him too, but never in the sense that I felt like anybody was crossing the line. We just he was a young kid, make sure nothing happens to him or doesn't go fucking missing. But yeah, no, after I watched that again and now knowing what I know, it's like it's night and day. Like what I first saw is like a harmless little like big sister, little sister nagging, or big sister, little brother like nagging and shit, is now like predatory behavior. And one thing that I did mention is that like if this was flipped, if Sen was a dude and that was a girl, we would have called that shit out like so quickly.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And that fucking sucks because like when it comes to statistics, obviously. Dudes are usually the abusers, the harassers, the predators or whatever. But that doesn't exonerate women. Like women can be predators, and unfortunately, I feel like we kind of go away with that fact. So in the future, I'm just gonna look at shit a little more objectively than I have now because like this is eye opening. Like I saw it, we were there. It wasn't like I saw it and like knew and like immediately thought. I didn't even think of it. I was like, oh, that's sweet. He's got someone to look after him, whatever. But if I could go back in time with the knowledge that I have now, obviously I would have been a lot more adamant about asking some questions, saying some shit about it. And I probably wouldn't have got the truth, but at the very least I would have felt like, at the very least I'm like looking at it objectively and not just being like, well, she's a woman, so she can't do that. So, yeah, I don't know.
That's kind of that's a confusing line of thinking to me because it's like like anybody can essentially be a victim. You know what I'm saying? And like. If you're in like a friend circle or whatever, you make a joke. Some people make inappropriate jokes sometimes. It happens. But the problem with this is escalating to exchange. People are exchanging actually exchanging pictures, actually doing these kind of acts like arranging meetups. But it's just too much, man. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all gotta stop that kind of shit.
It's just sickening, it's concerning because like you don't. I'm so thankful that this stuff is like coming out and it's happening, but it's like daily now. And I tweeted about this. Unfortunately the tweet's gone, but if you guys remember way back when Tamim was the first person to break really anything big, which was the Zack and Ally scandal back in Smash 4, and I feel like we feel the reverberations now, in that I really hope, and I hate the fact that it took Tamim to do this, but I hope that it has fostered some facet of accountability and holding people to a higher standard and not letting this shit go on in the shadows. And because Tamim brought this to light, he didn't do it in the best way. Obviously, he made a few mistakes, but he was like 17 at the time or 18, and he was trying to sort of unmask something that was happening sort of in the shadows. And I'm hoping that gave... I really feel like that was the first moment that when somebody had the courage to come out and speak on something like that, it was not his story to tell. He shouldn't have done it the way that he did. But I'm hoping that was sort of the genesis of inspiring these people to come through and talk about their experiences, and I'm so glad that people are doing it. And I think we're walking a delicate line where it's like, this hurts so much. It's awful to see this day after day. It's soul-crushing, but we need it. We need this so badly. I
think that I don't know if he was the first, but he definitely was one that opened a lot of eyes. I think I remember reading a couple of things before then, but it just, that was one that, shook.
Yeah.
Sure. It shook shit up, for sure.
It was probably the most high profile. Yeah, at least, in terms of the...
At that time, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like when you've been in the sort of scene as long as we have, sometimes you'll see some things. So like if I'm watching that Senpai Puppe thing back, if I'm being honest, if I'm there, I'm watching that and I'm getting a little weirded out. I was not there, and I don't mean to say this with hindsight like, oh yeah, of course I knew. I would have never guessed it was to this level, but I'm watching it and I'd be like, it's a little weird. I've been
definitely now, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I was commentating during that.
Yeah.
Shit,
And
I didn't even-
At least one of those clips I was commentating during.
yeah,
I mean, not the clips in that thing, but just at least one of those times where they were there, I definitely had been commentating. I mean, we frequented Xanadu almost every Tuesday, so.
right. But the reason that I bring it up is because like being in the scene as long as we have, I joined in like 2010. I think you guys were around when Brawl started. I was 2009. I think you guys were around a little bit before me, but like we've seen stuff like that, and you don't know to what extent it's going. Like, are there weird DMs happening? Is there grooming happening? Is there like how far is this going? Is it just, are they friends? Is this playful? And what is our responsibility? How culpable are we in calling that shit out? Like, that's where I'm not entirely comfortable making that decision, because like what can we do as, to a lot of people, leaders and like figureheads, even if we're just commentators, man. Like we're not on the panels, we're not going into codes of conduct. What can we do as figureheads that we are to like stop shit like this, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know
mean,
the answer.
It's weird, like, cause I've got like, cause like when I go to like, you know, obviously when we went to events, I've got like a couple of like people who regularly frequent my stream or whatever, and they're like a little younger or whatever, and I'll sit there and I'll talk to them, and I think they should feel comfortable that they could come to me if like anyone's actually, you know, giving them any kind of uncomfortable vibes. So I've always tried to make that clear for like my fans, and even if you're not a fan or whatever, you just got something to tell. Like I'll help you get to the right people or whatever. That's not an issue. I have god kids that I love dearly. You know what I'm saying? Very young, so you know, it ain't no problem. Cause like, you know, when it comes to like just super like tender age people and stuff like that, yeah, it's definitely a problem. But it kind of like there's another side to it too, where I'm wondering like, is it weird that I've treated, you know, some of my subs to like a lunch before? You know what I'm saying? Nothing weird. I just like, you know, bought them some food or whatever. Like I don't know. Is that crossing the line now? Is that like skirting it? You know, I don't know. So, not that I was doing anything weird. I'm just saying, like, you know, because adult children, you know. But I look at them as fans, supporters. I try and give back sometimes. It's just weird now. The whole thing is like fucked.
Yeah. And so I'm seeing people in the chat saying it's your responsibility to call that stuff out. The issue is we've done that before. We've been like, these guys are acting weird. This guy's acting weird to this girl, and it's just like, she's like, oh no, he was just flirting, but I have a boyfriend or something, and like it's not. You can do that, you know what I mean? You can make that happen, but it's like you don't want to get involved in everybody's business. It becomes, it's not really our job to play chaperone at these tournaments at the same time, you know? It becomes...
It's starting to be, though.
It might be eventually. I mean, like, I don't know what else to do, dude. Yeah, and a lot of times victims don't know they're victims until later. That's a very good point. People don't know they're sexual abuse victims until they get older, and they're like, oh, son of a bitch, I was a victim. They don't know, you know?
We're older now, and unfortunately, for some reason, our friend circle grew up, and so did we grew up and so did our friend circle. So, like, when I was 18 and 19, you know, we hung out because me and you were 18 and 19, you know?
Yeah.
We're 30 and 31 now. Or we're going to be 30 and 31 or whatever. And now we're still hanging out because we're fucking 30 and 31. Fortunately, not everybody, like, followed that. And these, you know, these people that are aged with us are still hanging out with 18 and 19-year-olds. And I don't see the appeal.
I don't get it.
I don't see the appeal because, like, for the most part, and this isn't against anyone who's young. I mean, it just happens to be the time where you live. We're just in two different, like, walks of life where I don't feel like we will associate over a lot of things outside of Smash.
Right.
Once I put that controller down, we probably don't have much to talk about. And coming from experience. I don't fucking like playing friendlies. Till the end of the tournament.
We're not hanging out with these people.
I actually like learning.
Yeah.
About people. I actually like learning about like other interests you have. The reason why me and Coney are such good friends because we found out of other interests we have. We like a lot of the same shit. We play a lot of the same games. We crack a lot of the same jokes. But like when it comes down to like other people that I met, we could be tourney friends. But if we've never talked about anything outside of Smash, then we're probably not as close as you think we are. And if you are like 18, 19, I don't really think I want to get that close to you. Like
yeah.
For I don't even for like safety reasons, just for like there's just some shit that you're gonna do as a young kid that I'm not gonna fuck with, like because I'm older. Like I might have done that when I was younger, but like it's just I don't live that life no more. So.
We're in different stages of life, and I think that's the other thing is like I think people have this idea that we all like know what's good. Like I'm not hanging out with the people winning the tournaments. You know what I mean? They're so much younger, and I think none of us are. We don't see this shit happening. But one thing I did want to bring up, which someone in the chat did mention, is that House of 3000 is now implementing an anonymous tip line that you can basically call and talk about like grievances or issues that you're seeing. If you see things like this happen, that might be a good way to sort of start get the wheels turning on how to like move forward with this stuff, because right now I feel like these people have nowhere to turn. Like you just make a statement and you hope somebody with visibility catches it,
Yeah. I mean,
I literally just saw someone say this doesn't happen in Melee. That's not fucking true. And this isn't a Melee versus Ultimate issue either. Like to make it like that is fucking stupid. But no, Melee has its own predators too. I mean, we can think back to fucking Mafia. The Sleepy K shit literally just happened. Like literally just happened.
Yeah.
Like not even 24 hours before the shit with the Senpai happened. So where are you coming from with that? Like that's shut the fuck up. Like you don't do that. It's not Eichelman. Like we're not gonna send and act like because Melee's an older game that these people are more mature. There definitely is a level of maturity that seems to exude Melee, but there's still heinous crimes going on. It doesn't matter how old the game is. You're still going to have shitters, and they're still going to do stuff.
Yeah, it's not a competition. That's the main thing. Let's not turn this into Ultimate versus Melee, like what's seen is less degenerate or whatever like that. Like that's not addressing the real issue. The real issue is people actually following through with these plots or these plans that they have for younger kids. And it should not be happening. Like, you're actually going as far as sending pictures, telling people what you're doing with said pictures. There's been some graphic longers out there, actual physical connections. Like, just that's the kind of stuff that needs to be the main focus.
I thought about this too. The J-Tails one threw me off for the sole fact that Shorty said, J-Tails, you are way older than me. And he still moved on. Like he could have stopped it right there.
He made that little emoji face. You know what I mean?
That's insane. I didn't even think about that. I
was like,
oh my god.
You could have stopped it right there and saved yourself a hat. Like she obviously was not with the shits. You know what I mean? And she should. I'm glad she wasn't with the shits because you shouldn't have been with the shits either. But she gave you the out and was like, yo, bro, like you are kind of old to be doing this, and you were like, yeah, but in 2 years we could kiss for real. What are you doing?
Yeah, like
what are you doing?
The shit where he was like, I could give you incentives if you finish your homework. I'll give you a massage. What that
was very strange.
I talked about this on stream yesterday. Like, and this is sickening no matter what. I don't mean to make it sound like this is only worse now because of my current life situation, but I just had a daughter and she's 7 months old. And I don't know if I'd let her go to this shit, dude. I really don't. Because with people like this that are I can't even imagine, dude.
The problem is just even the thought of somebody thinking something, even just thinking.
It's fucking disgusting.
It's just like, that's enough to rattle your nerves as a father. Like, yeah, I'm not subjecting my kid to any kind of shit like this.
Yeah. I see. I know we weren't going to talk about this, but we might as well. I see a lot of people in the chat talking about the gamer situation. I will handle this because obviously, like, I'm VG, whatever. This isn't like a spokesperson's thing. Sure. But this issue that you guys are all talking about has been something that has been talked about since inception, like in 2014 or 16. I can't remember exact year, but This has been something that has been going on since the PM days. Gimmer and his girl broke up. She started making some allegations, wherever. He thwarted those issues at that time. You know what I mean? Nothing else was said of it. The person that you are getting this information for has had an issue with MDVA just in general for as long as we can fucking remember. Like, it has been, it has been, like, whatever he can do to shit on the MDVA, he's going to do that. Gimmer is a huge part of MDVA. Of course, he's going to be vindictive. Now, I'm not going to say, I don't know the 100% story. So what I'm saying is, like, yeah, it could be true, but I don't know yet, and that's why we're not trying to talk about that much, because, again, we have to wait and see if Gimmer decides to say anything. But Gimmer has said something in the past about it, and that should have been it. Unfortunately, it keeps getting brought up. That tweet that y'all keep referencing was actually from 2017 or January 2020, and now we're talking about it 6 months later. So I don't know what the fuck you want us to say about it. It keeps coming up. The guy who says it has been vindictive. He's proven himself to be crazy multiple times, and even though he was right about one instance, does not now make him the savior of sexual assault and harassment. Like, that's not, like, stop. Like, look at the rest of his fucking. Look at the. Hold on, though. Look at the rest of his fucking Twitter. You know what I'm saying? Just look at the rest of his Twitter and just read it. You know what I mean? So if it ends up being true, then that fucking sucks. I'm gonna leave VG because I'm not trying to be associated with that. However, we need to wait and see. Gimmer hasn't said anything. That's all we can do is wait until Gimmer says something, or if the victim decides to come up. But which is interesting that the victim is not saying anything, and this isn't like a blatant thing. It was just if she were to say something, I'd be a little more inclined to be like, damn, this shit might be fucking real. But until Gimmer or her say something, we're not gonna continue to just shit on it.
If you're opening up the box, I'll talk about it too.
Okay.
So this guy that you guys are getting this info from, everybody's calling him a prophet. Everybody says that he's the second coming. I don't know how he is now. I don't know how he is in 2020. Maybe he's grown a lot. Maybe he's a different person. Guy's a piece of shit. He used to be.
He literally
stole
just put that video
$500 out of my wallet. When
shit.
I called him out on it, he called me a racist. He called my wife a fat bitch. He consistently posts him having sex with people without their consent on the timeline.
Yep.
He's not a good person. At least he didn't used to be. I don't know what kind of person he is now, but I'm telling you guys, this is not a good person. Now, here's the thing. If he's doing good things and if he's outing these bad people, excellent. That's amazing. I'm glad he's doing it. God bless him for that, because I don't want that either. I don't know what kind of person he is in 2020, but I know I'm not really going to go with anything he says, because like TK said, he doesn't like us because he feels like he's been cheated when we banned him from the scene for stealing shit out of Wii's, stealing Brawl discs, stealing controllers, stealing all this stuff, and then he just tried to blame it on someone else.
Also, why is Boss always still brought up?
I don't know.
I thought he hated Boss.
I don't know, man. But
again, here it is, Barry. As Boss, he has everything every time.
I probably had like the most recent communication with him, and like, I mean, just from his point of view, he made it clear last time I talked to him that he's just expressing what he believes to be the truth and the fact of the matter. So he's just telling his perspective. Now, obviously, if there's something to refute that, then that's wonderful, and I believe that there probably is in Gimmer's case, because I don't think Gimmer's like that by any means. But
yeah, I don't. But we don't know. But at the same time, I'm not gonna just take.
I'm not taking this dude's side on anything.
I'm not taking this third party opinion until I get some more concrete evidence. You know, like this, it's just it's crazy that he got one thing right, and now everyone thinks that like he is he's got like the fucking Millennium Eye or some shit. He can't. We don't know. And until Gimmer says something, or until somebody says something, or something happens, I'm just sitting idly by and waiting until I take the next step from there.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's all we can say. I mean, you guys are. I don't know what y'all expected to say out of this. Like, we're just gonna start shitting on him or something. Like, this situation has been going on since. I mean, like, we were there when they were dating. You know what I'm saying? The situation has been going on forever. She was doing some questionable shit. She was sneaking back into the venue after being banned, after planning on deleting all the venues from or the videos from VG Bootcamp's YouTube and shit like that. And
that happened.
Yeah, I know one side of it, and I'm waiting to see if there's another side of it. Yeah. And so yeah, we may never get an answer from Gimmer. From what I know right now, I'm still like, it got answered before, and I believed Gimmer before, so I have no reason not to believe him now until more evidence is presented.
And I just want to say one last thing, because some people I've seen have kind of brought up the ban thing. Why was she banned from the venue? That was before VG had ownership of the actual Xanadu venue. Like they were just operating out of it. The actual owner got wind of there being some sort of discourse and disagreement and stuff through other people, and he just elected, because he was hearing a lot of negative stuff regarding her being a little, like, being a little stalkerish is essentially what it came down to. He elected to say, no, you're not welcome in my venue. So that wasn't like a Gimmer or that wasn't a Tantalus decision like some people might think, even though he was TL. No, that was completely on the venue guy at the time.
There's
clear that up.
There's more to this than people know, and
Yeah,
I think we're waiting on Gimmer or this third party to speak up, because again, this dude that everybody's sort of hailing as a prophet does not like anybody from MDVA. Again, if he's doing the right thing, and if this stuff opens up these boxes and people get outed, that's amazing, and I'm glad. And maybe he's a changed guy. I don't think so. Looking at this timeline,
I have no reason to believe so. Definitely have no reason to believe so.
I have no reason to believe so, but I don't know. The guy would send me death threats. The guy harassed my friends for years and years, and like, he's just
all the time.
Like in a weird way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just...
Yeah, I mean, and we're talking about real death threats, too. Like, yeah, man, you better not show up to the venue. It might be the last time you walk into a venue.
Yeah.
Shit
Actual
like
death
that.
threats.
Shit like that. And so, yeah, to turn around and y'all are all now heralding this guy some fucking hero.
You don't know. You don't know.
It's actually fucking annoying, because, like, you don't know him. He got one thing right, and now you guys think he's fucking, like, sexual harassment Jesus for some reason. And that is annoying the shit out of me. Like, y'all don't know him. You know what I mean? Y'all don't know him, and that argument goes both ways, where it's like, you don't know him, and you also don't know Gimmer, but you're willing to believe what you saw after reading literally one thing. So, I don't know, man. Like, we need more information before we make our call. You know what I mean? The reason why I'm so hurt about the Sin thing is because I do know her. You know what I mean? But I feel like people will just believe that because, yeah, man, these people are celebrities and shit, that you know everything about them, and you don't fucking know them. You don't know me. You don't know Gimmer. You don't know Hero Killer. You don't know any of these people unless you are personally attached to them, like I am personally attached to these two gentlemen sitting next to me. So
Remzi just made a good point. Remzi can corroborate this. Remzi's been in the scene as long as we have. He used to be Bengals, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's a Brawl player for a very long time. He can corroborate this is not a good dude that you guys are celebrating. It doesn't mean he's wrong, and it doesn't mean that what he's doing isn't good, but just please be critical is all I'm asking. It's very tough right now because it's a very touchy and sensitive time with everything going on, and I mean, Senpai and Puppe, they outright denied things were happening a year ago, and then all this stuff comes up. It's increasingly hard, but please try to approach these things with a grain of salt and have a little patience. I am as fervent as anybody of getting these blights removed. I want this stuff to be, I want it all on fire. Like, I want it all purged. I really do.
As I said, like, if that shit comes out and Gimmer somehow makes a statement and was like, yo, man, I lied back in the day, this shit really happened, I'm leaving VG.
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah.
There's no, like, I'm not, I'm disappointed. Obviously, I'm going to be just as hurt, and I'm leaving VG because, like, I don't want to be part of that. But until then, I can only go off what I fucking know. And what I know as of right now is that it was not true when it was said 6 years ago, and I don't really see how it would be any different now unless he decided to say I was lying 6 years ago. Anyway.
Yeah. Like I said, I didn't totally want to open that box because I didn't, but I think it is worth talking about because a lot of people in the chat are just like, talk about Gimmer. I mean, I saw a couple people asking about the ESAM thing. Do you guys have an opinion on that? I mean,
well, hold on. ESAM actually DM'd me about that because he wanted me to know, like, he wanted to ask me. He asked me some stuff, basically like, did you know how was I back in 2014 or whatever. And so, hold on. Melee. I'm just gonna answer it. JMRX or JRMX, Melee has the same fucking demographic. Dot Kids brought in a lot of young kids for Melee. Yeah, there's definitely some older people in Melee, some like 35 pushing people because they've been playing forever. But there's also like 12-year-olds playing Melee. There's also like, 15-year-olds playing Melee. It has the same demographic. Shut up. Stop putting out dumb shit. Anyway, moving on. So he hit me up and he was like, like, do you remember any of this stuff right here? And I was like, well, what happened? He was like, well, yeah, there was this video that came out where I was saying the N-word back in the 3DS days, and how do you feel about it? I was like, look, I'm gonna be real with you. Like, I didn't really care too much back in the day, because, like, it wasn't that big of an issue to me. First of all, most of these people weren't, like, in my immediate circle, so I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
But as time has went on, yeah, I don't like the fact that white people think it is okay to say the N-word, because I barely say this shit myself. So to be around white people saying the N-word more than I was saying the N-word was definitely annoying. And I brought up to him this one time that I had ever been mad at him for it, was that time at Apex where him and Xax were like in the N-word this, N-word that, like the whole time. This is like Apex like 2014 or whatever, or 2012. So it was like way back in the day, but I remember I got pissed because I'm sitting next to them. It's like me and like 3 other black dudes, and they're just going in, And I'm like, you guys are not black. None of the black dudes are saying that. Please stop doing that. Whatever. I was like, but after that, like, I feel like I've seen you change as a person. That was 2012. This is now 2020. You haven't done that. You've been an ally. I don't really think you have much to worry about. And the person that's bringing this up against you has been vindictive on you forever. So my main point of that is, like, I don't much care anymore because it happened so long ago, and ESAM has definitely changed since the days where he probably thought it was cool to say the N-word and whatever. So, like, he's good in my book. You know what I mean? Like, he apologized. He said what he needed to say. He got it out the way. I don't think it should have blown up as much as it did. But it did, and I'm glad that he said something, I guess, about it. And here we are.
Yeah, I talk about this in something later I'm going to release, but I feel like the thing with that is, like, if you go back to when that was occurring, like, all of us were just, the culture was a lot different back then. Like, words that we wouldn't say now were normalized, and just, anybody was just saying it. Because, did we really realize, like, how we should be taking it offensive as black people? You know what I'm saying? Like, it just, I guess in being in gaming, it never really resonated that much with me. Yeah. But I will tell you, definitely, yeah, ESAM is, he doesn't do that kind of stuff anymore. Dude is, I guess you could say reformed in that aspect. Like, he's a solid dude. He's not, somebody who I think has a racist bone in his body.
To the other point, though, there is that one issue that I did have, same issue that Nakkiel had, but I did have.
Nakkiel had a very good video on this. By the way.
It was a very good video.
Nakkiel was,
the issue was that ESAM did basically participate in, like, the canceling of, like, Foe and of MJG, and when it came out that those allegations were false, he did not publicly denounce those, and that's fucking facts. I actually made I forgot why I even made this tweet, but I made a tweet about that recently that was like, if you are going to publicly blow someone up, then do not privately apologize after you're wrong. Mm-hmm. Like, that's corny. I don't even know if he actually did apologize, but that's corny because, like, you went out your way to sick your whole fan base on this person, and then it comes to find out it wasn't true. And now there's going to be a section of people who saw that original tweet that did not see the aftermath of that, and they still believe that, MJG or Foe are shitty people. Now, again, I get that Foe, has this thing going on again right now, but taking that away, if we were just talking about the fact that, like, the accusation was out there, it was exonerated for both of them, and both those times the accusation was out there, ESAM tweeted, these people are shitty, and then it was exonerated, and there was nothing else said after that. That looks bad. So, to that, I am hoping, Bear just said he apologized yesterday, and I'm hoping that I didn't look, but that's good that he has finally taken the step to remedy the situation. But you need to hold that same energy both ways. If I call someone out, I don't know, if I call fucking, for some reason, I don't know, if he did some shit and I called him out and then it wasn't true, I'm going to apologize publicly because I called him out publicly. There's no reason to go into his DMs to save face. That's fucked up. I'm going to apologize publicly. And if you're going to put it out there, you need to bring the same energy for both sides.
It's about awareness too.
Yeah.
Like that's a big part of it. I think that a lot of people weren't a fan of too. Like you brought awareness to something that ended up not being the case. So let's bring awareness. That's like a newspaper retracting an article from a previous something they ran previously. Like you got to put it out there so everybody knows. So I agree with that.
Yeah. I don't really know where to go from here.
We got some questions.
Oh, we have plenty of questions. We can answer questions now.
Sure. Be right back. Use the bathroom.
It's been a mess. The J-Tails thing literally completely slipped my mind because of everything that happened today. So, guys, hit us up. #BlastZone. Whatever questions. Whatever you guys want to talk about. It doesn't even need to be questions. Also, just I don't want to reiterate on old stuff, but I can tell you I lived with Gimmer at the time that all that stuff was happening. I didn't see any of that. That's all I'll say. I don't know if that's a one-time thing. I don't know if that's but like we lived together in the same house. Again, doesn't mean it didn't happen. Doesn't mean that anybody's story would be wrong, but we lived together, and I didn't see any of that. So, I'm just throwing that out there. So, let's go ahead and go to the questions. Guys, hit us up. #BlastZone, whatever you guys want to talk about. Obviously, this is going to be highly curated, so come on, be good. Sorry, I'm just trying to find the right things. Some praise. Thank you for anybody saying nice things. I don't think this is the time to revel in like people calling us like good people, but thank you. We doing the best we can, man. It's
I mean, I don't even feel like I'm a good person.
Me neither.
Like I'm a person. Like
Yeah.
I'm
not talking to 15-year-olds. Wow. Like
like I shouldn't get a reward for staying in my fucking lane. So that's what it feels like to me. But anyway.
Neerat says, what's the balance between community interception and letting the victim speak out on their terms? Prematurely outing puts a lot of unprepared trauma on the victim, but also the outing should be done ASAP to prevent further incidents. That's a good question. So I've sort of wrestled with this a lot because, like I said, I think the Tamim situation where he brought up the Zach and Ally allegations, not even allegations at this point, but he brought those up. That was not at Zach's request. Zach didn't want that to happen. It doesn't mean he wasn't going to come out later, but you can't force the victim to relive trauma, or you can't force them to tell their story, which is why I'm glad all this stuff is happening, because I hope it empowers people to be more vocal about what they've gone through and to come forward with their stuff and tell their truths. Where that line is, I think, different from person to person.
I almost think that's one of those things where if like you need to bring it up, but you don't want to, force the said victim to be a part of it, or have it publicly exposed. Like if you're really concerned about like maybe it affecting like an event or something, maybe that's something that's best done in private. You know what I mean? Like you bring it up to the organizer in private. Like, hey, here's my concerns and why. It involves so and so. I don't know if they're comfortable with me sharing this information, but I wanted to at least make you aware of that, and then kind of figure out how to go from there. So it's at least addressed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's it's very tricky, that situation.
Yeah.
It's very tricky.
Yeah, it's a mess. And there goes EE.
I'm here.
Twilight Link. When Tamim first shed light on the stuff on Ally, a lot of people made really vague Twitter statements basically saying that we should believe people. How much of that whole situation did you know before it came down? Literally nothing.
I don't.
Yeah. Sure.
Again, this is another one of those things that fall into the category as I don't.
We're not hanging out with players. We are not hanging out with players. I don't know how to stress that enough.
like straight up, like at the end of most tournaments, if me and Coney are rooming together, we're literally in our room watching like shitty hotel TV and making the worst fucking jokes.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I don't hang out with Zach. I don't hang out with Tamim. I didn't really hang out with Ally, and he's not even that much fucking younger than me.
Yeah.
So we don't hang out with players like that. I don't really know what else y'all expect. Like what secrets you think I'm holding here, but we don't have that. So.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I went to a top player KBQ get together. It just doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
But I wanted to bring that up because I think that's a good question of like, we need to reiterate like this stuff is happening in front of different, like everybody thinks that everybody's hanging out in the same room, you know?
I shouldn't have laughed at that.
Wait, what'd they say?
They said that's because Ally was hanging out with the kid. I can't find him if he's... Alright, anyway, moving on.
Alright, sorry, I'm trying to figure out the highlight message thing, and I gotta find it. Please don't highlight messages, chat. Come on. Please.
I'm sorry, chat. I'm sorry, bro. He got me. I wasn't expecting it.
Sorry, I'm trying to make sure all of this stuff is... Keen Frizzle says, some of us on the Discord have discussed the idea of a Smash community ombudsman. I don't know what that means. Ombudsman? Or ethics committee? Do you think there's a way to introduce a confidential, unbiased third party who could intervene in potential issues in Smash tournaments?
Isn't that what the code of conduct is for?
I guess, but like I don't even know what that would look like.
Yeah, that's hard. Who do you put on that?
The problem is also, people don't like the code of conduct board because they make the wrong call sometimes. And I get why people are critical, but at the same time, we're never going to move forward if people take things like the code of conduct panel and they just bash it into the ground and they're like, this is awful, blah, blah, blah. You can be critical of it, but it's the same thing as the PGR. When everybody tries to dunk on the PGR and all of these guys don't know anything, they're trying to bring value to what we do.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things where like people want something established, but then don't want it to give the established thing time to make it correct.
Yes, yeah.
Like the first iteration of almost everything is not going to be good. So you need to give it time and work with it. Like, you know, that'd be like if you judged every early access game or every alpha as the main game. You know what I mean? Like, oh my fucking god, this game is so trash, bro. It's alpha. We're in alpha. We were in alpha with PGR 1. We were in alpha with the code of conduct. You have to work. You have to give feedback that is going to help, you know, form it into the way of that works for all of us. Sure. Yeah, what you're describing to me is the code of conduct. But I said this on Hard Reads today. The issue with the code of conduct is that most people won't even fucking read it, and so this code or this like list of rules will not be seen by multiple people, by a large amount of people, and because of that, I feel like it's not getting the amount of shine or the amount of it's not accomplishing what it should be trying to accomplish, because people are willingly not reading it, not caring about it, whatever, and then so when it finally comes out and it becomes an issue, it's usually a bad issue, and that's when everyone wants to harp on it.
Brosidon says, thoughts on age restriction tournaments. I feel like kids interacting with adults in such close quarters is always going to be unsafe. I maybe I'm an idiot. I really don't think so.
I don't think that's an issue. I don't.
But it clearly is.
I don't think it should be an issue. Sorry, that's the better answer.
I would like to not go down that road. I would really like I think that would be a massive overcorrection. However, I don't think we should take it off the table. You know, like that. That's like the nuclear option. Sadly, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
See, but now
I think from a
you have to
competitive
think
standpoint.
Go ahead.
I think from a competitive standpoint, the problem with that is, okay, let's say we have like a junior league and an adult league, and like, you know, people aren't really in the same room as the same. Those people who are super talented in that junior league, they are 100% going to be like, yo, I'm dominating this league. I want to compete with the adults, like, you know, my predecessors before me who had the chance to prove
That's
like, yeah, I'm like a super godlike player. I'm the next Prodigy. I'm the next Leo, Zero, stuff like that. So I feel like it's going to become like really, really frustrating to a lot of people. I think we just need like, you know, maybe we just need like better. It never really feels like, even though they say like security's at events, it doesn't ever really feel like there's security at events. You know what I'm saying? There's never really feels like there's an actual presence there besides when you're walking in, maybe getting your bag half-ass checked, stuff like
especially
that.
a big house.
Maybe a more authoritative figure patrolling the venue, something like that.
If it did cut it into junior league, and I'm watching junior league only. Y'all old people like to camp too much, bro. All the 18 and under kids, they still like to fight. I'm trying to watch that shit. Fuck out of here.
The 18 and under league is like Roy, Palutena, Wario, and the 19 and over. They're trying to make it into a career. So that's like Rob. Campy ass characters. Get the hell out of here.
Rob, fucking Olimar. Like, I'm good, bro. Get out of here, bro.
I'm not watching the big leagues. You're trying to make this a career. No, I'm trying to watch the kids
bro.
who still have promise.
Yeah, man. So, but yeah, I just, as of right now, I don't think that needs to be happening. I think we just need to. I think the better choice would to be hold your friends who are doing creepy shit accountable. If I have a friend that's 26 saying, yeah, man, I'm about to go hang out with a motherfucking, I don't know. Let's say I don't even know who's 16 anymore. That's the worst part.
Yeah.
I can't even give you a 6-year-old name because that's how far dejected I am from that scene. But I'm gonna go hang out with the 16-year-old top player in his room or whatever. I'm be like, yo, that doesn't seem like a good idea. Y'all should go to the venue. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, just y'all should, if you want to play friendlies with that dude, like, go to the venue. Like, how about that? So, hold your friends accountable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Tell them, yo, I mean, think about this. You're going to be in a room alone with a 16-year-old in this current climate. Do you think that's smart? So, yeah. Anyway, moving on.
There are other things that we didn't even touch on. Ace Attorney, who's a Zelda player from Tri-State, sending inappropriate messages to people who were underage. He's like 30, I think.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff, man. How do we even...
He's another one of those people that the person that he sent the message to was like, yo, bro, I'm 17. And he was like, and? Like, all right, man, come on, bro, what are you doing?
Even at that point, like, dude, like, you're probably, if you're 30, you're probably like from around like the old 4chan era where, Pedo Bear was like, considered funny and stuff like that. But that's not the case anymore. So you gotta, like, in that case, like, dude, try, like, play it off and just stop from there. Play it off and just stop from there, and then realize, 17, this is not something I can actively pursue. Maybe I'm making a joke, man. Try to be funny.
I feel like you can admit your mistake if you didn't know. Like, if I hadn't hopped in someone's DMs and I thought some girl was 25, find out she was 17. I'm like, damn, my bad, you look 25. Anyway, I'm out. Like, that's the end of that conversation. There's nothing else to talk about, bro. I'm gone. Like, you know what I mean? But unfortunately, that is not the fucking thought process that these people have. So,
hit the Coney, fellas.
Fellas,
I'm out. Hexetera has a question, and I don't really know all the pieces of this, so I want to see if you guys did. In retrospect, now with everything that... And guys, if I skipped your question, I'm sorry. It's because we either touched on it or because it's something that, like, is so general. It's kind of what we're talking about, like, across the board. Hex said, in retrospect, with everything that's going on, do you think the community failed Bocce? Bocce? I don't know how to say it. But the...
Wasn't Bocce's issue that she said the N-word?
Yes. Hard R's,
so how do we
too.
fail her?
I don't think so unless there's something I'm missing. She just dropped a lot of hard R's, and she wasn't, like, from an older time in the era, like, where she dropped the N-word, like ESAM, but it's changed since then. It was, like...
At the time, it was, like, a year ago.
Yeah, I don't think that's, like...
I don't fucking care if you're a minor. You know right from wrong. Like, she's not a minor like a 13-year-old, dude. That is she was like 16, 17. At that point in time, you understand racism. You understand that the N-word should not be said. Absolutely not. We are not going to act like she is some fucking baby that was never told that that the N-word was a bad word. Like, nah, bro. Nah, man. Nah. Yeah, like, you learned about that shit in history class in, like, 6th grade. Come on, bro.
Well, that's why I bring it up, because, like, I didn't know if there was something that I didn't know about. I don't know. Yeah.
And it's like, didn't, like, because, Stroder still competes, but, we obviously, like, okay, well, learn from this and grow. Gave him an opportunity. I think she was given the same opportunity, but didn't she leave on her own accord anyway?
Yeah, she left on her own accord. And it was last year. Like, the difference to me is time. Like, the difference to me is time. Like, the time and the intent behind the things. You were trying to make these edgy-ass jokes about racism and shit that actually hurts black people, saying the hard R, talking about lynching and shit. That's not cool. I lynch N-words is not ever cool. ESAM shit happened 4 years ago. He was saying the N-word in what is believed to be the friendly way. Either way, he shouldn't have I've been doing it. Time has passed.
Friendly
He's
way.
apologized. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? Schroeder, same shit. Happened like last year. Was saying some very questionable shit. I'm not even mad at him anymore. I never really was mad at him for outside of the fact that I feel like y'all wanted to forgive him on my behalf too quickly. That's the shit. Like, you're not white or you're not black and you're trying to forgive someone for saying something that is offensive to me on my behalf.
Yeah.
That is what pissed me off more than anything. I made that joke at fucking, what was that? At Don't Park on the Grass about him going dark Schroeder with the hard R or whatever, and everyone was coming at my neck like I was the one who said the N-word in the first place. Fuck out of here. He said it. I'm gonna get these jokes off. You know what I'm saying? Like, that if he didn't want to have them jokes at him, then he shouldn't have said the shit. So, nah, bro. Nah. You know what I mean? Like, it's... Fuck out of here, dude.
Max Kell says, should we insta-ban people with allegations on them while waiting for them to prove innocence? I think that's a very dangerous precedent. I think it would be very easy. Yeah, and this is I'm being very delicate about this because I'm not saying this is common. But I could see a world where somebody makes a Twitter account, says that they were in the Smash scene, but they're not anymore. I had these allegations against MKLeo. Leo's banned. Leo misses a major, and then the account goes away, and then it's like, oh, that was bullshit. You know, like I'm not, and I'm trying to be very delicate about this because I don't want to make it sound like these accusations are false across the board, right? Like, people don't come through and these false allegations aren't as common as I think a lot of people want them to be or act like they are. Mm-hmm. But if you have that system put in place, it becomes you can manipulate it in subtle ways, which I think is opening up.
What was the original question?
Like, should we insta-ban people with allegations while waiting for them to prove innocence?
Oh,
I'm saying,
hell no.
I'm saying if I have a problem with Nairo, like if I can't beat Nairo at a tournament, I would never do this. Let's say I'm a shithead. I have a problem beating Nairo at a tournament. All right, I'm going to make a burner account. I'm going to make a twit longer that's actually totally untrue. Make allegations against Nairo. While the community looks into it, I'm going to make sure I don't run into him at EVO. You know? Like, I wouldn't do that. But if I was a bad person, that would be an option. So it's like, it's not, I don't think that's a good idea. And that's just one use case. Like, that's not even the worst thing you could do with that.
Sure.
So
I think it becomes a lot easier for people to, I mean, people are going to, like, jump on a bandwagon regardless. And I'm not saying, like, in some cases you shouldn't, because in some cases you absolutely should. But it becomes, like, in the case of, like, using MKLeo for an example, it becomes a lot easier when there's some sort of like proof or receipt attached to that kind of claim, because when has Leo has never done anything that I've ever seen giving off any kind of bad vibes. He shows up at a tournament, he plays, hangs out with his friends, and that's it. Like, it's like clockwork for him. So somebody to just say that, you know, especially like just a new account just popping up just randomly saying that has to be taken very, very carefully and approached very, very cautiously, because he's never given out a reason to suspect something like that. Which you could say about a couple people who have been outed, but still, like, that's you know.
Raffle Fox is a very good question. Very good question from Raffle Fox, who, by the way, has done an amazing job of, like, boosting up the local community. So this is a very good question from him specifically. A lot of the conversation has been around what needs to happen at a national level. What can we do at the local level to create a better environment for our attendees? I've got to be honest, I haven't attended a local seriously in about 2 years, and even then I was pretty, like... I think all three of us, and maybe I'm wrong here, have been pretty removed from a local scene. I can tell you that the House of 3000's tip line idea is amazing, and I think that should be, if it's done well, I think there might be some issues with it that you can't conceive, but obviously you can sort of deal with that and cross that bridge when you come to it. I know the Code of Conduct panel have a lot of fake reports that they have to sort of sift through from people who are just critical of the panel. But I think it's a good idea to have a tip line of some sort of anonymous third party that people can come to, because, like, even if you're as sort of wholesome and clear as Fox, maybe some people wouldn't feel comfortable going to him. They need to go to something else. Maybe it's a Google form. Maybe it's a tip line. Maybe it's something like that. So that would be my thought. But do you guys have any opinion on this?
A tip line?
How do you make locals safer? Because we're talking about nationals, but what can you do to foster a more healthy local environment?
I think that locals, it's almost like locals are governed by state. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, like, just like states have their own, laws and ways to check, I think the locals have their own laws and ways to check. That, to me, comes straight down to the major TOs of those locals. Mm-hmm. Hold people accountable. You may lose your favorite top player because they're doing shitty shit, but you need to do the right decision. I'm tired of seeing these stories about these local TOs who, like, are getting the, you know what I'm saying? Who are like, getting the fucking info and then being like, well, okay.
Yeah,
you know
but he wins our tournaments.
like I'm saying, yeah, but, like, who's going to win the tournaments now if we don't, like, no, man, like, you need to at least pull these people to the side and be like, look, dude, like, we need to have a real discussion about your behavior with this person. Is this going to be an issue for a while or for a long time or whatever? And whatnot. And so, yeah, I think there needs to be a way to hold local TOs accountable. I don't know if a tip line will help, but that original defense is supposed to start with local TOs. If someone comes to you with an issue at your tournament, why would you not want to fix it so that your tournament looks good? You know what I mean? Because once this info comes out that you didn't do shit about it, it's only going to make people, one, not want to go to your tournament or support it, or two, just make you look like a very shitty person.
Yeah. Wolf Laser. Now that Venia released another Twitlonger answering to the other Twitlonger and basically devolved into a he said, she said, do you think the ban should stay? I've got to be honest. I tried to follow the Venia situation with Fruit specifically, and it seemed... I don't know what to make of it. You know what I mean? Like, I've read the Twitlongers multiple times, and it feels very much like a he said, she said kind of thing, and it's very confusing, and I don't think it's as clear-cut as some of this other stuff, which is like, I groomed a minor. Or, they didn't say that. This guy groomed me, a minor. The Venia Fruit situation, I will not comment on, because like I said, I'm probably something came out by the time we started doing Blast Zone, and I'm probably not totally informed, but it seems messy. Do either of you guys have an opinion on it?
Yeah, I've read it, but it almost seems like they're getting to the point, and I will say Fruits was very well presented and how it was organized, but it just reading stuff, it's almost like it does kind of come down to it. Is it like a he said, she said type event or case? And if there's no definitive proof against either, like, can you really issue a ban? Is that fair? Is that a precedent we set? You know what I mean? Like, and I mean, and I'm just saying this because it's very confusing. Like, it is a confusing situation. I'm not absolving anyone of any guilt or anything like that. But I'm glad I'm not somebody who has to make that decision, because it seems very confusing to me, just in general.
Yeah, just to be clear, we're not trying to absolve anybody of anything or try to extricate ourselves of any kind of responsibility. It's just like that. Again, I'm not hanging out with Venia. He's much younger than me. We're not chilling. I've never met Fruit. We've never talked, so I don't know them personally, so I can't speak to their, like... I don't know what they're like. I don't know their experiences. I read all this stuff, and it's coming in fresh, and it's like, I can't... I don't know. It's complicated, and hopefully there's more clarity that comes in time. Majora Flash, I'm going to address this one last time. If the case is that he's innocent, why do you think Gimmer hasn't addressed the situation yet? He has in the past multiple times, and I believe he will in the future. We talked about it a little bit ago. If you want to see it, scroll back a couple. I'm just bringing it up one last time so we can, like...
Also, it's only been a couple, like, it's been today, right?
I think it all the things resurfaced today.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think, but... It's really funny to see random, like, actual Smash questions, like, what's Min Min's best color alt? Like, I appreciate...
I will answer that real quick, though. Min Min has too many color alts that look exactly like other colors. She has 4 colors to me. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Every question is dope tonight. Let me see. Would you invite Omni to the show? Actually, Omni used to be when we first did Blast Zone, it was a 4-person show, but he could never show up, so now it's a 3-person show. A lot of these are things that we Ed Weirdo, do you think homophobia and hatred towards Bayonetta players made the Captain Zack ally situation worse? Yeah, without question. That's not even a question. Like, I think that the Bayonetta players definitely antagonized the scene a little bit, but it's like a chicken and egg thing, because a lot of the stuff that they endured wasn't just because they were annoying or frustrating to fight. They were just kids playing a game well and being told by grown men terrible things. So I think that was definitely a part of it. Yeah.
I mean, I always thought, I don't know. I always liked. I never had no problem with like Tamin or Lima or Captain Zack.
Yeah.
I always was on the side that you paid your money to enter the tournament. You could play whatever character and whatever style you want until somebody takes you out of the event. So like, I never understood how people got mad at that. Like, you know, you playing to win, you play for prestige and shit like that. I never really understood how that had devolved into, you know, just a whole bunch of homosexual slurs and death threats. I think at one point, you know what I'm saying? Shit was just weird.
It was weird. It's very weird.
And it was grown men doing that, by the way. Like,
fully
a
grown
lot of
men
adults were doing
telling
that.
17-year-olds,
you know,
god
kill
awful
yourself.
thing. Yeah,
Like,
just
dude,
it was insane.
calm down. It's not that serious.
Let me see. Woody Warbler, do you think there were instances of abuse/harassment back in the Brawl days or even earlier that we never even heard about or will ever hear about? Undoubtedly. I know I don't want to speak out of turn because I don't know what's been going on in a lot of things have been going on in MDVA where all of us used to live. TK moved out. We're going on in Sova and things were happening. But I know that New York, New Jersey used to be a hotbed of that stuff in the Brawl days.
Of what?
Of
sexual misconduct,
abuse, harassment. Like, I remember hearing a new story every day. I don't know. A lot of those people aren't around anymore. Most of those people aren't around anymore, but it did happen, and I don't know how much of it came to light. You know?
I feel like a lot of the stuff that came to light came to light in the time where like we didn't like, it wasn't as big of a deal. You know what I mean? It obviously was a big of a deal, but I feel like more people were writing it off and doing more like less believe victim shit. You know what I'm saying? But now, if that same shit were to come out now, yeah, all those people, a lot of people in the Brawl days would have got canceled for sure. Yeah. So
now, when you say that a lot of them would have, like, is there like a scale to that? Like, let's say, for instance, like, let's say like anywhere from like 3 to 8 years ago, somebody was making like inappropriate joke or saying homophobic slurs and stuff like that. Are you talking about like they'd be canceled for that? Or
I mean like
actual.
I'm talking about like Inuit stuff.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was trying to.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
I think I agree with that. There should be no statute on something like that.
I'm thinking of Izumi.
Oh,
yeah.
That
guy was yikes.
Yeah, there was a guy. There was a guy. There was a guy, a Toon Link player back in Brawl that was a self-expressed pedophile, and proudly, yeah.
And like we just kind of like we really just wrote that shit off. Like, I mean, we didn't like, no one was like, oh, that's cool. It was more so like, wow, that's fucking weird. Let's not associate with that dude. But yeah, he was like 18, 19, and he had like a 14, 13-year-old girlfriend, and we were all just like, that's kind of
like you would say something and you'd be like, that's not okay. This guy's a weirdo, whatever. But like, he hung out with the top New Jersey players.
Yeah, and so it's like they all accepted it. So now for us to come, this is back when New Jersey was like the mecca of East Coast Smash. So it's like, for us to come from our area of MDVA to come up to now judge someone just didn't seem like the way to do shit. So we were just like, yeah, man, like, that's weird. We're not going to associate with them, but we're also not going to say anything. And it was just, yeah,
well,
bro.
Also, because you don't know how much, like, New Jersey, all this Brawl was a weird time for humor. Like, people made edgy jokes about, I know so many of your faves that said terrible things on All This Brawl, and they're probably totally changed people. They're much better people. They were awful. Yeah. And I don't know, we didn't know if that was a joke. Like, this dude's a weirdo. Apparently he wasn't, which came out later. It was a mess. It was a nightmare.
I thought it was a running gag for the longest time until like I remember one day. It's like I think it was like Shoot At Bi-Weekly and Nui had come up, and I was talking to him. And he was like, yeah, you know, I'm gonna team with Dave at this, yeah, because that's his name. His name was Dave. I'm not gonna care about protecting his name, but his name was Dave, and he was like, yeah, I'm gonna team with him at this, even though I'm hoping he's gonna make it there, you know, just so he doesn't get arrested. I'm like, what are you talking about? He just starts going in all these stories. I'm just like, good God Almighty, like, dude, like, why in the world, like,
yeah,
why is this okay? Like, but I, you know, back then, I'll admit, I didn't really know what to do about that. I just went and played my match. I keep it real with you. I didn't know what to do. You wasn't at the event.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to find. I had a question and then it just got updated. So, Brendan says, "Do you think we should take the innocent until proven guilty approach to these allegations?" That's a complicated question. Because you should believe people when they come through, when they talk about the stuff, even if they don't have evidence, even if they don't have something in the immediate, like right now, the present.
Like, I think the best thing to say is, like, your immediate defense should not be to write proof. Like, I think that you should take the story, you know, with a grain of salt in whatever way you can. If it's just like a story, there's no screenshots, there's no corroborating evidence, I feel like you should take the story with, you know, with the belief that there could potentially be a story out there that does not match up with this one. But that shouldn't be your first thought, like, this is a lie. You know what I mean? It's just more so like, this could be disproven. I think that when I see those people, you know, putting shit like proof, it's usually like people who are like fans of whoever is getting whoever is getting blasted.
That's something I want to talk about too, but please keep going.
Yeah. So that annoys the shit out of me. You know what I mean? Like, even if it came down to me, if someone were to out me right now, I wouldn't want y'all to be like in that person's mentions like, well, you know, proof. Like, I will have my own proof.
Yep.
Hopefully. I mean, and I will put the statement out, and then after you get both sides of the story, you can figure out what you know, what you really believe. But what you need to understand is that coming out with a harassment story is not some personal gain. For most people. In fact, I know a lot of women who have come out with harassment stories that have been true and have actually suffered more than the person who actually got the harassment story put against them.
You're not
so
getting
clout.
Are
like now blacklisted and shit. You're not getting famous. You're not getting, you know, new gigs. You're not getting new subs or whatever the fuck you think is going to happen. You're just going to get lambasted by a bunch of fucking incels who were fans of whoever you're putting out. So, yeah, no, it's not... there is no real personal gain out there, and it's hard, and that's why most victims don't put their story out there as soon as it happens, or as quick as possible. You know what I mean? Like, look at Vicky. She put her story out literally a couple days right after, and y'all are still bringing up this Hugo. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't stop.
It's unreal.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to address really briefly is TK reminded me. I remember when the J-Tail story dropped, a lot of people came through and they said, well, I really know J-Tails. I know he wouldn't do this. I've been a sub for 5 years. I know him. You don't fucking know these people. You don't know me. You don't know J-Tails. You don't know TK. You don't know EE. You see us on the screen. You can like us, but you don't know us. And you don't know a content creator. You don't know what they're capable of. And I think this whole... It's part of the parasocial relationship where people just think that the nice guy on screen is not capable of this shit. Like, it's bizarre to me. They hear J-Tail say nice things to them over years in YouTube videos, and they're like, oh, that guy can't be a predator. He taught me how to play Palutena. He's a great guy. He taught me how to play Diddy Kong. Like, what the... where is that disconnect?
Yeah, you don't unless you're hanging out with me personally, you don't really, like, I will put a lot of myself out there for my stream for sure.
Yeah,
you know
me
what I mean?
too.
Like, I will be honest about things that annoy me and all that good stuff or whatever. But, like, you're not in my house. You don't get to have these deep conversations that I only have with, like, my friends or Tori or whatever. But, like, yeah, so, like, you know the entertainer side of me and a little bit, and if I decide to share some of my personal life, then you know that. But to act like we are best friends because you're giving me $5 the month, that's not it. If we haven't met in person, then you don't know me to the extent that you wish you knew me. Like, I definitely have met a decent amount of my subs for sure, but for the most part, a lot of y'all are, would still have that fan, person interaction. So,
Phil, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much TK highlighted it perfectly. I was just gonna say, don't confuse the persona or the personality with the person. When that camera goes off, you don't know what's going on. To be quite frank.
Every time the camera goes off my stream, I just get depressed immediately, bro. It's like, I'm like, all right, bro, y'all have a good night. What happened, bro?
Playful Piano says the disconnect comes from viewing top players as celebrities on a TV show and not reality. You're right, and that's sort of what I talked about earlier, where that sort of thinking, when you idealize us and people in Smash and put us on a pedestal, that leads to stuff like the Vicky Shannon stuff, where you see these two women on Twitter, they have nothing explicit going on their Twitter that would even suggest something like that, but you think, oh, they're public figures, it's fine. It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
It's weird, man. Let me see. Neerad says, I want to address the elephant in the room. A lot of us were off color and had a different set of values in the past, so I feel like addressing and acknowledging this flaw is a big step in moving forward, because I'm seeing a lot of figures act like they had it right all along. I guess this ties back to the ESAM thing.
Is he saying that, like, there's a lot of virtue signaling going on? That stuff I feel like I'm hearing.
Sort of. I mean, like, personally, my mindset has shifted a lot over the past few years, and I talked about this a little bit on stream yesterday. But I've always been like a jokes over everything guy. Like, if the joke is funny enough, you can joke about everything. But I'm not very empathetic. I'm not an especially nice person. I'm straight and white, so I haven't had as many difficulties as a lot of other people. So like, I'm trying. I've shifted my mindset, and I've said, okay, that's my mentality, but that doesn't mean you take that out into the world. I think people just have to acknowledge that the world is bigger than just you, and people grow and culture changes, and
that's huge. I like that culture changes thing.
Oh, it's always changing, and
you got to keep up with the times, because like I know for myself, like, goofing around with friends back then, especially when I was like more so involved in like card games and stuff like that, and not as much in Smash, like. And honestly, in card games, like, the language you'll hear at an event for that is still just astounding. You know what I'm saying? But, like, there's a lot of words that I remove from my vocabulary. There's a lot of jokes that I won't make that I might have made in the past, because I gained a level of sensitivity I just didn't have. I didn't grow up with that. You know what I'm saying? I thought everything was on the table. Everything was okay to make light of or make a joke about. And that's just how it was. You know what I'm saying? But, especially I think being involved in a community that has proven to have a lot of progressive people, it's definitely helped influence and shape the way I take things now. Especially, I've got kids that I love very much as well, and I want to make sure I'm able to set a good example going forward. So like, something I might have said like 10 years ago, 4 years ago, like, I'm proud to say, like, I would not find that amusing. Like, something like the word like rape, using that casually, no, that's absolutely not okay. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that is what you have to understand, is what people need to grow from. But if it's the case of like, there's really just never any excuse that when you're of a certain age, you're legitimately having sexual relations with somebody who is not even close to being legal. Like, there's just no excuse for that.
Yeah, there was never that's not a culture shift. That was never okay.
That's just, you're just disgusting.
And I think it also depends on like knowing, because like EE and I are not like sensitive people, so we'll make jokes about that, and like we'll make jokes too. But like, I've crossed the line with EE before, and EE has like crossed the line with me, and like, we'll acknowledge it, and we'll handle it privately. We'll be like, hey, that wasn't cool, sorry, whatever. But like, I think both of us, and I don't want to speak for you, so forgive me if I'm not accurate, please. But like, I think for both of us, it's having to take that mentality like a further step in the public sphere, and not being that person, because like, we're not trying to offend anybody, man. We're not trying to hurt any feelings. We're not trying to say anything that makes people uncomfortable. At the end of the day, we're just trying to make people happy, I think.
We want the scene to grow.
Yeah. That's super important to us. So,
they didn't include me because I'm always offended. So,
No, I've made you mad in the past before, plenty of times. So
yeah, I mean, I'm sensitive though, so it's different.
I wouldn't say you're sensitive. I'm
definitely sensitive, bro.
Well, you're like more in tune with your emotions. Let's say that. It's a good thing.
Right.
That's
It's
a
a
light
good
skin
thing.
trait. It's okay. It's a light skin trait.
It's a good thing.
fine.
I'm mad cold. I'm emotionally distant. You are in tune with your emotions, which is a good thing. Let me see.
I do be light skinned though.
Sorry, I'm reading through. Do you guys have any thoughts on the Xac situation specifically? That was another thing that happened.
I literally just found that out, and
Yeah.
I mean, good on Xax. I actually did hear some of those stories earlier about Xax, like, you know, messaging women and like not taking no, but he called himself out, and I don't know if he called himself out because someone was gonna call him out first, or he just really felt like he was wrong and he's learning. But regardless, he did it. Good on him. I'm not gonna say thanks for doing that. I just think that it was good that he took responsibility for someone had to do it for him, and hopefully, you know, he does believe in his words and will try to be better in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've all known XX for quite a while, like back in Brawl. I think I would take XX. I think there was sincerity in. I read his tweet longer. I think there was sincerity in it. Yeah, I know, monk ass. I think there was sincerity in it for sure.
Oh, I just saw it.
You guys are making this hard to talk.
Sincerity, right? Yeah. So
yeah,
sincerity,
I think there was
bro.
sincerity in his message. Obviously, it doesn't absolve him from everything, but at least he's owning up to stuff, because that's another issue where you're not just making a joke, you know, poking fun at like in an age thing or like anything inappropriate. You're sending unsolicited photos way over the line, buddy. Way over the line.
Yeah.
Also, who?
It's the weird champion for the night. RK says, I don't want to go down the age restriction road either, but I don't want to go down the... Thank you for the gift subs. Ooh. I don't want to go down the age restriction road either, but it sounds like a real option, especially because we'll never know if our other options work until someone grows up and realizes they were victimized. Because what options do we have if we don't hear about it? That is a very good question. I feel like the age restriction, like, I feel like that's the end option. That's like the nuclear option. I don't want to make that the first thing, but I don't know, man. I don't know. That's a very complicated thing.
Yeah, I think we answered that earlier too.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like if shit does not seem to change over the next few, I don't know. Well, I didn't even say the next few. Whenever we start going to tournaments again, if shit doesn't start changing, then yeah, maybe that is the play.
I used MFs in a tweet, and somebody did the N-word with the MF silencer on it. Come on, man.
Oh, that's my shit.
Come on. I was doing the meme, okay? MFs is the meme. The meme. I was trying to be funny. Come on. Dex says, well, we don't know. I'm trying to avoid questions I don't have answers to. What is the aftermath of this whole thing going to look like? What do you want it to be? I don't know. I want it to be a culture of accountability. I want all of the blights purged. I want all the pimples popped. And I want victims to feel safe enough to come forward in a community that will embrace them. The problem is the Smash community is not just the Smash community. You have people that go to tournaments regularly and compete and are there physically and actually show up and are at the hotels. And then you have fans, and fans watch the event and they build up public figures in their mind, and they think they're celebrities and they think that they can make art of them. I think we have these two disparate elements, and sometimes they overlap, but I think that's a big issue here, is that I don't know how you can reconcile, like, J-Tails coming out and grooming somebody, and a lot of his fans who may or may not even go to tournaments are like, oh no, I watch his content, he's cool. Like, Jesus. Void had a question. Sorry we had to wait so long. It's just been so many questions. Curious on your thoughts about reform/time for reform. There's no real laws in the Smash community for a set period of time for punishment. As far as I'm concerned, this is one of the biggest amount of things surfacing in a period of time. When you talk about reform, do you mean at the individual level, or do you mean at the community level? As in, like, Are you talking about reform as in like I almost said Ryuga, Jesus, Hyuga's reform, and that he went to rehab? He reportedly, as far as we know, took the incidents from a few years ago very seriously. He sought help. He's tried to get better. Or do you mean like reform at a community? Okay, you're talking about individuals. I don't know how you... I think reform just means going the fuck away. Yeah. I don't... Like, you don't get to play Smash anymore. Find another hobby. Climb rocks. I don't give a shit, you know? Like, change your life. You go to therapy, fix yourself. I don't want you back, you know? That's how I feel, though. I don't think there's a path of reformation. At least not when you're talking about sexual misconduct and abuse and harassment. I don't think there's any... Because you're always going to make somebody feel uncomfortable in the future, and I don't think it's worth... I don't think it's worth that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, so I don't really have much to add.
Yeah.
Check the group chat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In Discord. Okay.
I think I just... Oh, God. Okay. Well.
Next question.
Well,
I'll deal with that. I can.
Right.
Fuck me. We already answered that. What are your thoughts on lifetime bans? The older a person and interest in their actions should hold more consequences. What about 16, 18, 21? If you say the N-word, you know, that's a different thing than grooming a minor. I think it's a case-by-case basis. Mm-hmm. This is too big of an issue for the show, but I'm going to say it anyway. Luke says, what do you guys think of letting religious beliefs get in the way of opposing moral viewpoints? Not trying to spark the debate of theism/atheism. I was just thinking about this in a vacuum after seeing some players use it as their excuse for bigotry. That is a much bigger conversation than this show. That's... I can't speak to that. That's all I'm going to say.
All I'm saying is Mormons are weird, bro. That's all I got to say on that.
That's too big to unpack.
A lot of 90 Day Fiancé, that Mormonism shit. Mm-hmm. Nah, playa. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. I think we're getting to the end of all these questions. Pink Crimson, why are Smashers like this? M2K could post that his parents died, and there would be clowns in the replies making self-destruct Smash jokes. That's everywhere. Like, that would have been in... I'm sure League has a thing where, I don't know, Bjergsen will tweet out, like, you know, my dog died today, I'm very sad, and people are like, oh, guess he should have flashed. You know? Like, I think that happens everywhere. And
pay attention to the accounts that make those comments too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's just
burners.
Yeah. A lot of questions. And I'm just trying to make sure I can actually address these. Oh boy. Thrillho. This is, I think, the last question of the night, unless you guys have anything else or want to talk about anything else.
Nah, I see it.
I think so last question of the night. Thrillho says, do you think Senpai got the benefit of the doubt hanging out with a 14-year-old because she's a woman? We kind of touched on this, but TK, do you want to bring this back up?
I mean, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it was, again, most abusers are men, so we don't think of it. We see that relationship usually as, like, you know, if there's ever a situation where, honestly, it's a society thing too, man. Because most women do not date under their, you know, age. You know, usually when you see relationships, 9 times out of 10, the man is older than the woman, or whatever. So yeah, it's just we refused to see it because of the society, other things, and just kind of like, you know, obviously you would think someone is smarter than that to be 10 whole years older than someone. and neither one, and that person is way far from being legal. So you think, you deduce it down to, okay, well, that's probably a big sister little brother relationship now or whatever. I don't know their history, whatever. So yeah, we saw it as such. Had that been flipped, I'm sure we would have been a little more cautious about that. Seeing a black male talking to a 14-year-old white female, that there's obviously no relationship in their blood. So we would have been a little more cautious about that. And that sucks, but it definitely is eye-opening. Again, I said this at the beginning of the show, but it's eye-opening to see that and now think, differently later on. I'm going to have to be more
vigilant.
I'm going to have to be more vigilant, on seeing shit like that and thinking, more, being more cognizant of my thinking with it. Like, not every relationship when it comes to young male and older female is going to be, big sister, little brother type deal. I mean, that's how you get those teachers having sex with fucking, students and shit. But like, just, you don't think about that. That's not where your mind immediately goes whenever you start thinking about sexual assault. So, yeah.
Well said.
I think that's the end of the show. Thank you guys so much for watching and for tuning in, asking us questions. It's been an experience.
I'm tired, man. I haven't day drinked in a while. This whole cup was full of day drink, and I'm probably gonna go make another one. I am getting to the point where I feel like I want to retire.
Mm-hmm.
Not because like I'm I'm done with the game. I love this game. It's fun. I love almost all all iterations of Smash. But I feel like I want to retire because I'm tired of dealing with this and people not growing with me. I've grown, we've grown, but the rest of the community seems to still be in the same place, and that's not really the community's fault. Because every game brings in newer people, and we happen to be on the side where we move on with the new game, and because a new game happens, so does new people. Now, if I was a Melee commentator, it probably wouldn't matter that much. I mean, new people come to play Melee all the time, but I'll still be around the same fucking people the entire time. With these other new games, every time a new game's come out, there's newer people. The only reason I really can't retire right now is because I have nothing else. So, I think right now I'm in the transition area of looking for another job that's in the industry that will still keep me around. So when I want to go to tournaments, I can. But this is... For most of y'all may not know, but this was my income. Like, this commentary was my income. Commentary and streaming together was my income. So, as shitty as things get, like, until I find something else, I can't really go somewhere else. And while I'm here, I'm going to try to make the best of what I can, but I'm tired, and I'm hurt, and I'm heartbroken about the Senpai news because she was really close to me. And I've been hurt by the rest of this shit. But, like, that one was like a nail in the coffin.
Yeah. And
so, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't really think I'm retiring, like, within the next month or so. You'll still see me at online events. I'm still commentating online stuff. I have the Gimmer Invitational this weekend. We're still doing other games as well. I just know that, like, if I decide to drop out, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to stop going to events. Because I feel like my logic on that has always been, if you say you're going to retire, you're not actually going to retire. Almost everyone who made a tweet longer about retiring is still in the fucking community. I'm just going to leave. Because I'm sad and I'm tired. And I don't feel like I can make anything better right now. Hopefully I can, but as of right now, I don't feel it.
I just feel too old for this shit, man. Like, I see this shit happening, and it's like, what happened yesterday, like I said, we've seen this happen over and over, but specifically yesterday with the Shannon and the Vicky thing, like, that ignited something in me, because I haven't really talked to Shannon that much at a personal level, but we really met and connected at Summit, and she was great. She's super funny, and her and I talked for a while, and, like, I really admired her. I thought she was a great person, and I was super proud of her because she just got hired, full-time by Summit and is doing great things. I talked with Vicky, for long periods of time, and she was concerned about all this stuff following her, and just she felt like all these issues would never stop. She would live in that shadow forever of this Hyuga thing and all this other crap. And like, these are real people that I have talked to, and I've had these long conversations with, and they've been reduced to just things that people don't see that way. And it was just kind of sickening to me. And then that wasn't the only thing that happened, right? Because then the person that I commentated top 8, like all of us commentated top 8 at Evo, and one of us, her, was like, that's the idea of that is just sickening.
And see, like, little shit like that is the thing that, like, you know, bugs me, because, like, you know, again, someone I reported for, like, before she got on Evo top 8, like, even during Evo top 8, because I knew she was nervous and things, and I was proud of her and happy for her. Before she got on Evo top 8, I tied her tie. She didn't know how to tie a tie. Oh. I did all that shit. I checked on her, all that good stuff. Like, we were really fucking close. You know what I mean? And you know, she, like, before she got on, like, we had talked. I was like, "You're gonna fucking kill this shit," you know, whatever. She told, "I love you." I said, "I love you too." I went on stage, did my thing. She went on stage, did her thing. Between every break, I went back and checked on them.
Yep, you did.
Didn't have to check on Coney. I know he's been in that spot before, but I still checked. He's my boy. I'm gonna check on him. But I came back to check on Shen to make sure that she was good.
Yeah.
And you know, you look back on shit like that, and it hurts. You know, to know that like all these memories are tainted now. Not that like she was doing something while that happened, but all these memories are tainted because the one person that you thought you knew and loved is not the person that you actually knew. So
yeah. I think the thing that resonates a lot with me, like the Vicky thing specifically, is I kind of think back now, and you guys remember we did that Thunder Gaming thing, and she, like, you know, obviously it had been years since the Hyuga thing, but she still didn't want to like commentate all of top 8. Because she was like, I'm gonna get so much shit for this. Yeah. And I never really like thought about it until like recently. Like, she's still hurting from that shit. Like, that is still something that plagues her to this day. And I consider her a very good friend, and I care about her a lot. So like, just thinking back on that, man, that just you know, that sucks a lot. And I know, like, you know, maybe like a lot of people didn't make it. You know, maybe myself included, didn't necessarily make it easy with how it was originally handled. Like, you know, is it taken with the level of seriousness it needs to be addressed with? But that's, you know, definitely was a learning and turning experience, and I just wish her nothing but the best. Shannon too, of course.
Yeah.
And anybody else who's had any kind of serious problem with like just straight out just despicable harassment and sexual assault.
Dude, Vicky is, as the chat has said, Vicky is definitely one of the strongest people in the community.
Yeah, I can't believe she's still around. Ago. I can't believe she's still around. Yeah.
Yeah, and like we you know, even on smaller blocks that we did a full bloom top 8 together, and the chat was going on her, and we went to break, and she was like, "Dude, I don't know why I'm doing this," and I'm like pepping her up and stuff, but I'm realizing that like no amount of talk would have made me stay for going through the shit that she's been going through.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm not strong enough for that. And I can fully admit that I'm definitely not strong. Like, I used to get torn up about, like, I was, you know, when I was growing in fucking PM, we get all these compliments, and then one person of, like, just notable, you know, fame would say something, and that shit would, like, ruin my whole fucking day. Like, I'm not good with negativity. She has had to deal with that the entire time, and it made me feel like I have nothing to complain about anymore. And I think that is kind of why I kind of got over dealing with haters and shit. Because, like, people can have it way worse than me for absolutely no reason. And they still have to deal with it and sit next to me and all that good stuff. So ever since then, and I commend Vicky for still being around, still finding her spot within other games, too. She's doing the Overwatch shit. She became, like, the Nintendo girl, you know what I'm saying? So, like, big shout outs to Vicky. Yeah. I don't think it couldn't be me.
Yep. I can't imagine being, and especially like all that stuff coming out yesterday while she's commentating is,
and still fucking held it down.
Yeah,
still did her thing.
Yeah, she's an inspiration in a lot of ways, and I hope people realize that, because I think a lot of people took shots at her because she was, one, a woman, and two, way younger than us. Than when she did the commentary thing, right? Because commentary was dominated by us three, D1, Keitaro. We're all like 30 or older. And then this young woman comes up, and people are like, "Oh, get her off! She's trash. She's awful. She doesn't know what she's talking about." Her strength and resolve there, I think, speaks volumes to her character.
Yeah.
And I really hope people see that. Because everybody endures a certain level of hazing when you first start. But not to the same effect, just because we're men.
Sure.
Not at all. So, anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I know it's been a long show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I enjoy is a strong word because of all the stuff going on.
Well, we used to do 2-hour shows. We just didn't really have nothing to talk about. But today
That's true.
we had a lot to talk about.
We had a lot to talk about. Guys, if you have any other questions, hit us up, obviously, on Twitter. Hopefully, next episode won't be this down. Maybe we'll have good stuff to talk about. I really wanted to talk about Min Min, man. She's out. It would have been fun, but sadly, this was not the week.
Next time.
We'll do it next time. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next time on the show. Have a good one. Good night.